You know this moment. You're in the middle of what should be a completely ordinary conversation, maybe about what happened at school or who said what or whether it's going to rain, and somehow 5 minutes later, you're in a full-on argument and you're not even sure how you got there. Let's say it's Tuesday afternoon. Your child tells you that their teacher was unfair about something. You say, "Well, I think I remember you saying earlier that," and that's it. That one sentence is the match. Suddenly, everything else is on hold. Dinner, homework, the dog. None of it matters until you acknowledge that you were wrong and they were right. And you're standing there thinking, why does this matter so much? Or maybe even, here we go again. This isn't a conversation about fault or about who broke what or who owes an apology to whom. That's a slightly different conversation. This one is about the version of events that your child will absolutely die on a hill for. Detail, the memory, the who said what, and the more you try to reason your way through it, the more locked in they get. Today I want to offer you a different frame entirely because here's the big picture. This isn't about winning, it's about safety. And it's not just about big things, it's everything. Who said what time something happened, whether the movie they're remembering is the one that you're both thinking of. They have a version, and that version is the only version, and your job, according to them, is to recognize that. Push back even gently, and the energy in the room shifts fast. They get louder, more insistent, they repeat themselves, they bring up evidence, and you're left wondering, is this a discipline issue? Is it a respect issue? We need to have a serious conversation about how this family works issue? So again, today we're going to talk about how this isn't about winning, it's about safety. Here's the typical way we think about this issue in relation to children. We think a child needs to learn humility. They need to understand that other people have valid perspectives. They need to practice being wrong gracefully. And that's all true, but we can't force those outcomes. We have to help bring our children along slowly and gently in ways I'll show you in a minute. We have to be aware of how their autistic brain impacts the way they think about things and the way they talk about them. For most of us, being wrong about something small, who said what time it was, it's mildly uncomfortable, right? It might be a little embarrassing. We adjust, we move on. For an autistic child, being wrong doesn't feel like a minor adjustment. It can feel like the floor dropping out because their version of events isn't just their opinion, it's their entire structure. It's how they've organized the world into something predictable and safe. When you challenge it, you're not just correcting a detail, you're introducing chaos into a system that can't tolerate chaos. So the need to be right isn't pride. It isn't ego. It's a nervous system doing exactly what it's built to do, trying to stay stable. Let's get specific. Here are 3 things that are almost always driving this. The first one is that their brain processed the event and closed the file. Autistic children often have a cognitive style where once they've reached a conclusion, it's done, finished. It's not stubbornness, but reopening that file takes enormous mental energy, and their brain resists it. So when you say, actually, I think it happened a little differently, you're not just offering new information, you're asking them to undo a process that feels complete to them. That can feel genuinely overwhelming to them. The second one is that there's no kind of right. For a lot of autistic kids, thinking is very binary. It's right or wrong, which means if they accept their version might have been slightly off, they haven't just been a little wrong, they've been wrong. Full stop, and wrong does not come with a comfortable middle. So they hold on hard because the alternative feels like free-falling into something that they have no framework for. The third one is just the issue of capacity. When your child is already carrying a lot, a hard day, sensory input, unspoken anxiety, cognitive flexibility is the first thing to go. The child who can hear a gentle correction on a good day absolutely can't do it on a depleted one. So if you notice the has to be right moments cluster around certain times, maybe after school or at transitions, later in the evening, it's not character, it's capacity. And that's really important and useful data. If you're finding this video helpful, I hope you'll hit the like button and consider subscribing. It helps more people find this content, and I really appreciate it. So what do we actually do with this information we now have? Move 1 is get out of the argument. Not because you're wrong, not because they're right, but because the argument itself is not where change happens. The moment we engage, correct, counter, bring our own evidence, we're adding fuel. You can exit by saying something along the lines of, that's interesting. We might be remembering it a little differently. And even that might be too much for your child to handle in the moment. You can even say something like, wow, I hear you're really committed to your thinking about that. And then this is the hard part, you stop. Not adding, I still think I'm right, just stop, let it sit. The urgency drops. They might say, I still think I'm right, but we can still let it drop. And the matter can be resolved faster than you'd expect when there's nothing left to push against. Move 2 is use the both can be true bridge. Instead of challenging their version head on, you might try to create a wider container for both versions to exist. It's possible we both saw it from a different angle, or maybe it looked different from where you were sitting. This is not you capitulating. You're not saying they were right. You're giving the nervous system a way to loosen its grip without having to free fall into, I was wrong. It's a sideways step. You're not attacking their logic. You're widening the frame around it. That's a move that their nervous system can actually accept. And also consider, it could be true. You could be remembering the same thing differently or have seen it differently. Think about eyewitness crime accounts, right? Sometimes they'll interview 5 people and 5 people saw the same situation and will give 5 different explanations. So it's also possible that that's true. Move 3 is choose what actually needs to be resolved and time it right. Not every being right moment needs a lesson. Some of them you can just simply let go. The ones that do matter, where accuracy or accountability genuinely counts, those are worth returning to. Not in the moment when they're overwhelmed, later, when their capacity is restored. Something like, hey, I was thinking about what you said earlier. I wonder if there's another way to look at it. Can I share it? That's when cognitive flexibility might actually be possible. Timing is everything. The shift here isn't about who was right. It's about understanding that your child's nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do, protecting them from what feels like chaos. And when you stop fighting the symptom and start working with what's underneath it, the arguments get shorter, the grip starts to loosen, not overnight, but over time. If this video gave you a new way of looking at or thinking about why your child has to be right about everything, I hope you'll consider subscribing, maybe passing it along to another parent who needs to hear it, and I'll see you in the next one.